is Tuesday night, and that means another episode of Goal Horns and Fight Songs. And we're coming off another week. We had 1 week of mostly conference games, and then we went right back into non-conference games. And so we had a whole slate. I think the only team that did not play, well, my Bulldogs didn't play, and then who else? There's one other. I
Colorado
think
College.
Colorado College did not play. So we had six series to watch, and I did get to watch Friday. I did not get to watch Saturday. But some good, some absolute spankings that were put on teams. So kind of all across the board.
Yeah, no, a lot of success for the NCHC. The goaltenders collectively put up 5 shutouts, 3 of which occurred on Saturday. Freddie Halak, the freshman goaltender for Denver, who's coming in relief of Matt Davis, who has some interesting situation going on. I'm not entirely sure what the full situation is there. They ended up calling up their prospect goaltender and having him come onto campus earlier than they were hoping he was going to be, as like a third string goaltender, I guess. So he's now up with the program. They haven't officially, I don't think they've officially said anything about Matt Davis, but it does not seem to be great for whatever diagnosis he is under. But Halak has come in, played pretty well. He had 41 total saves in a 2 shutout weekend for him, stopping 48 on Friday and only 13 Saturday. So the defense really kept the puck away from him on Saturday, as Denver was able to sweep Yale by a combined score of 14-0 on the weekend. And we kind of mentioned it. Do not let Denver get rolling. Like if they get one, they're gonna just pile in. Like they're like a 3-point shooter. They see that puck go in the net, and then it's just hitting it over and over again.
They were well, the Matt Davis story is interesting. You know, hope everything's okay, obviously, because when they're bringing up this kid early, it sucks in two ways. One, for Matt Davis, because it's serious and that he might not be able to play again. But then two, this kid coming up, he has to use a year of eligibility that he could.
Not necessarily.
Well, unless the NCAA grants him an exception, but
He could
I
still.
mean,
It depends on if he plays or like suits up, because he may just be called up on like an emergency basis, because he could still potentially redshirt. And even then, I think he has to play a certain number of games or minutes or periods to eat into his redshirt year. So he could still end up with like 5 years, and it would just be a redshirt year for him.
okay, because I was figuring like red shirt, you don't play like at all.
There's It's weird how they.
But I haven't looked into it
I
at
know for
all.
football,
So
like you get like a game or two that you can play for football, and it still counts as your redshirt year. Or if you're injured, then you get like an injury redshirt. Like there's a bunch of different tangents to it, but I believe even if he's like with the program, it wouldn't necessarily count against his eligibility if he doesn't meet a certain threshold. I believe I'll look it up here in a minute, but I want to see if I
okay,
can find anything on the Matt Davis news.
but regardless, it sucks for Matt Davis. You never want to hear about anyone, and then more specifically for what we talk about, any athlete where it comes to this, because it's not good. But yeah, Denver got on a roll, and uh to quote horrible bosses, Denver bent Yale over a barrel and showed them the 50 states. I mean, that was not. They almost scored more points than the Monday Night Football game. Like, that was ridiculous. Um, and actually, for the most part, I think the NCHC only lost 2 games, if I'm reading my math correctly, um, for my picks. But yeah, so overall good weekend. I don't think it was necessarily the strongest weekend for a lot of the teams. Um, we can start from the top of what I had with Western Michigan and St. Lawrence. Um, Western probably they did what they should have done against the St. Lawrence team.
Yeah, I mean
I,
they played
I
well. I mean they played well. Their defense has continued to play well over the last couple weeks. It's been really the turnaround that we've seen in a team that's won 4 in a row. That defense being a big part. They're 16 of 16 on the penalty kill in the last 2 weeks. Cameron Rowe has a .5 goals against average in the last 2 weeks. Two shutouts in his last 3 games. Uh, and really, he had an opportunity to have the shutout Friday if it hadn't been for just kind of a moment of hesitation that cost him a goal. I mean, the sticks met at the puck. It took a bounce right into the net, and it was just an unlucky break that gave him the goal Friday. But really, I mean, Western's playing really well right now. The PK's playing great. They had to kill off 2 majors on Saturday, and did so with a little bit of help from St. Lawrence, who just kept taking untimely penalties. Um, I think they took a penalty in each of the major penalties, really cutting that time down a little bit. Um, so that was helpful. Actually, I think they took 2 in each or 1 in each. Yeah, they took at least 1 in each of the majors. I think the second major they actually took 2, which made it 4-on-4 for 4 minutes of the five. Well, it should have been a 5-on-4. Um, and really, Western went 2 for 4 on the power play Saturday. I think they had another power play goal on Friday. So really, all aspects of the game were playing well, and we're not seeing like huge numbers from the team, but I really like that they're playing solid defense, and defense translates into offense more often than not. I mean, how many times have you seen a big save at one end immediately translate to a goal on the other once guys get going and they maintain control of the puck? So I'm really happy with the way the team's playing right now, and they're getting it together at a good time. Before the winter break here coming up in a couple weeks, but I hope they can keep this rolling into the second half of the season. I hope it's not just uh, a peak and then a downfall like we have seen sometimes in years past with certain teams.
do think the one counterpoint is I would rather have them still struggle. Wait, you never want your team to struggle, but if they're going to be playing like this, you'd rather have it happen after the winter break versus before, because there might be a little stagnancy and a little rust when they come back from the winter break. But they're also going in with momentum. And I think this was a hang on, let me pull up the schedule here again quick. Um they have a nice kind of I the problem is I don't want to say easy, but they have kind of an easy-ish schedule going into the winter break. They have Lindenwood coming up next. They had St. Lawrence. St. Lawrence isn't a world beater, but
And they still have Denver ahead of them
it,
too.
they do. But I think it's a good these two series between St. Lawrence and Lindenwood. That's a good lead up to come up to Denver and get things sorted out. And I think that'll be a close series once we get to it. Um, Miami kind of shocked us a little bit. Um, I wouldn't have been surprised if they went 1-1, or like our picks went 1-1 this week against Mercyhurst. I ended up being 2-0. They lost on Friday and won on Saturday.
Sunday.
That just or yeah, Sunday. You've already corrected me on that once, and I just can't get over that because they had to do it just weird.
There's another one too coming up where it's the same way. I don't remember when.
But regardless, it in a sense it shows how or the level that both programs are at. They're just not good. They're not good at all. But I do think that I think it must have been the Friday game. Mercyhurst was out shooting Miami by a mile, and they couldn't get it past the goalie. And I don't even know who Miami's goalie is right now, but it was just kind of one of those where it's like, yep, same old Miami. They're relying on their goalie to keep them in a game.
Logan Deaton is the goalie in Miami. Is their number one. He had 28 saves on Friday, giving up 4 goals. And Miami had 41 shots on goal. The Mercyhurst goalie saving 38 of them.
Hmm.
Right. So Miami
Okay.
was doing shitting.
Maybe it was a different game.
And they only allowed 20 shots on goal on Saturday because Logan Eaton recorded his first shutout of the season on Sunday.
Well, then I was definitely thinking of a different game. But either way, Miami and Mercyhurst, they're the bottom of the barrel. And I think we talked about this when we went through Miami's schedule. It was kind of like, well, this could be kind of a toss-up series between the two of them. And it was. It really was.
Yeah, nobody really took control or pulled away from anything. 20 saves is decent. It's a pretty good night. I mean, and he stopped them all, so great for him. Again, recording his first shutout of the season. You know, it was a shutout extravaganza this weekend. So I think most of or all 4 of the sweep, was it 4? Yes. Nope. Yeah, all 4 of the sweep securing wins were shutout wins. So it was a goaltender's weekend, really.
It really was. I guess we'll just go next up. From what I have, North Dakota against Bemidji. Uh,
Oh, Omaha was the only one who did not record a sweep, but did record a sweep. Shutout, but did record a sweep. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So North Dakota over Bemidji, they swept them. I think the biggest winner out of the weekend was Bemidji and showing that they can actually play with North Dakota. Because North Dakota is getting a lot of love in the rankings. They are highly ranked. Bemidji is not. Um, that was it 3-2,
3-2
and
Friday,
then
5-0 Saturday.
yeah 5-0, but Was that a home and home?
No, they were both in Grand
Both
Forks.
in Grand Forks.
Yep.
So, uh, this is how much I prepared for this. But Bemidji just even playing to a 3-2 game. Friday's game, I paid more attention to that one, especially because I was actually watching that one. But Bemidji had their chances. They really did have their chances, and North Dakota did not look like the team that should be highly ranked.
No, I mean Bemidji was in control of most of that game, and in fact, I don't know if you follow along on Twitter, but the overtime goal that North Dakota scored was actually offside. However, Bemidji never challenged
Mm-hmm.
it, and they could have potentially won that game if they had caught it and challenged and continued play. If not, they could have at least earned a full tie, getting through that next 5 minutes and potentially played a shootout for bragging rights and stole a bragging stole a extra half point if they had forced the tie and caught that the play was offsides, but they did not. Bemidji State, the sufferer of unfortunate events in overtime. They were also the school that had the game called back after a half hour to restart the overtime game in the CCHA championship. Um,
Mm-hmm.
went on to lose that game twice in overtime. But yeah, that's just a mistake on the coaching staff or the whoever's supposed to be watching replays to miss that one. Honestly, a big opportunity missed there too.
Yeah. Sorry.
And
I
I
don't
think
know if they have
I think it deflated them a little bit going into the Saturday game to know that they were that close, and it was just an oopsie doozy.
and I don't know in college if they have a video review coach or not. Um or person, I guess. I don't know if they'd even be considered a coach. But if they have a video review person or not, you would think at the Division 1 level they would. It was close enough that I think you only have a certain amount of time, but the guy's skate was up. He was offside. Uh, and I do remember seeing that, and it was like, ooh, that one hurts for Bemidji. Um, and yeah, it could have just been a moral victory getting that tie, whether you win in the shootout or not, because they're gonna do the shootout. Um, but oh well, what's done is done. Uh,
And
Omaha.
that
Oh,
Saturday
go
though,
ahead.
Pearson picked up his third shutout of the season after previously shutting out Wisconsin and Minnesota Duluth. They made 29 saves on Saturday.
You mean person?
Yep, that's what I said.
You said Pearson.
Yeah, well, I said what I said. I've heard it both ways.
Uh, Next up we have Omaha, which it completely threw me off because they had to finish up Sunday, their Denver game, which they won. Um, but they did play Augustana and they won 2-1. And hang on, have it up. 5-2. Uh, and the Friday matchup really intrigued me. Omaha definitely looked like the better team, and the one goal that Augustana got, was on the power play late, if I remember correctly. But all of a sudden, it was like, oh, like within the last half of the period, um, and it was like, okay, well now Augustana has a chance, but at the same time, Omaha looked like the better team. I don't know what they looked like Saturday, but I just think that it was one of those weekends where we got the good Omaha team both days.
I mean, we got the
Where
non-conference
sometimes,
Omaha team.
yeah, true, but in a sense, this is a better non-conference than what they typically have, which is weird to say with Augustana being a brand new team, but they beat both Denver and Colorado College.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, we saw kind of that non-conference version of Omaha that we see quite often, just because of the way they schedule their non-conference. You know, they beat up on Long Island at the last few years. They play very well in their non-conference schedule, but it doesn't necessarily help them when those teams are either independent teams, or as the year goes on, you know, they end up being in the bottom tier of their conferences, and they're not beneficial wins later in the year to help propel them to an at-large possibility. And then they have to rely on their conference schedule, which sometimes they don't play as well in the conference. I mean, they did steal one from Denver, you know, that Sunday game, that 2 periods on Sunday. They ended up getting the win there, so that's a boost, at least in the conference. But they don't do themselves enough favors in, yes, getting 2 wins over an Augustana team who did beat Denver and Colorado College, could potentially prove to be beneficial later. But, you know, for the most part, Omaha like controlled the game on Friday. I didn't see the Saturday game because it wasn't on NCHC TV, but I think one of the first plays, or one of the plays of the week that we put up, was the first goal that Omaha scored, and they had literally like 30 seconds of zone time, just making passes, cycling the puck, looking for an open shooter, finally get it to the point where it's ripped, and the guy, I think, tips it in front. And I think it was one of their forwards in the Saturday game went 10 for 10, or one of their centers went 10 for 10 in the faceoff dot, winning 100% of his faceoffs. I mean, they played pretty well. Ty Mueller on Friday went 10 of 12 for a .833 faceoff percentage. So I mean, when you're winning faceoffs, controlling the puck off the rip, you're going to have opportunities more so than the other team more often than not. They did, however, or they only outshot their opponent by a few shots. So they picked the right shots and made them count, because they had 31 shots on goal, whereas Augustana only had 26. So it
Yeah, and
wasn't.
that Friday game, like you said, I was surprised they did take that dumb penalty right at the end of the like towards the end, whenever Augustana cut it to one. Um and that's the only reason that game was as close as it was. That, and they didn't capitalize on their chances. Omaha had so many more chances that they should have scored on, and they just weren't able to do it. And they can't do that in conference play. Like, if you have the chances, you gotta take advantage of them. You have to score on them.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, St. Cloud against Michigan.
These were pretty contested games. I mean, the score on
Mm-hmm.
Friday was 0-0 until the last few minutes of the game. And Michigan kind of got a lucky bounce on their kind of got lucky at the end of the game, and took advantage of opportunities. Um, didn't do much as far as power play went. I mean, Michigan was 0 for 5, so the PK for St. Cloud came in clutch there. St. Cloud played a really clean game, only taking 3 penalties. Caster played incredibly well. I mean, he even I think that was
You mean
he's
Bassy?
or Bassi, yeah, played incredibly well. He had the save that made uh, the teamwork clips in that the defenseman came in behind and kind of cleaned it up, but he made the initial motion to force the Michigan player out wide, and the guy put it off the post. It did kind of sneak behind Bassi, but didn't get in the net, and that's really all that matters. Um, and then the really just an uncharacteristic kind of moment for St. Cloud to give up the games late, but that was a hard fought game. They were both battling two good goaltenders. Not quite as strong of a Michigan team as we've seen in the past, but able to come in and take a full win and go to overtime the second night on a St. Cloud State team that's kind of they're sitting at 8-5, but they're kind of wishy washy this year. I think we kind of expected a little bit more out of them.
I think we expected more out of them, but I think they're kind of like I'd put them in the same category as Western, where they're now finding their footing. Western, with the loss of McAllister and all those guys, um, it was there was more of a leash for them to find their footing. But with St. Cloud, they they lost a bunch of big names, but they still had a bunch of big names coming back. So I think them taking this long to find their footing was a little bit more of a surprise to everyone than we thought it would be.
Yeah, 100%. Uh, they have this weekend off though, so hopefully they can rest up and get back on the winning track as we get back into NCHC play a little bit.
And then, I mean, the last one that I have on my list is the Denver one, which we kind of touched on, and there's not much to say about that because you already talked about it, and they just spanked Yale. Um, they will be the bosses of most people that they played against on that team, probably, because there's still an academic requirement. But yeah, that was that was an embarrassment for any hockey coach. So overall on the week, I went 10-2, you went 8-4. That puts me a game ahead of you at 51-34, and you are 50-35. So where I mean, kind of seems about how it's gonna go all year. It's just gonna be more luck than anything.
Hey, as long as I have more wins than losses, I'm kind of okay with that at the end of the day. Since I only really pay attention to like a quarter of these games.
Yeah, it is difficult. I wish the the one thing I will say is when you do the 4 games at once, you can't expand it all the way. You can do the full screen on the TV, but um full screen per game, it's like only one time. So I'm like, yeah, no, I want like my whole 50-inch TV to have the games going on, not just a little blip of it.
Yeah, my eye just always kind of tends to lean towards one thing. Like some one game will catch my attention more than the others. If Western's on, it's going to be Western. But if I've already gone to the Western game and I'm watching a game, whichever one draws my attention is the one I'm going to focus on. I generally mute all of them. Um, and just try and see where my eyes are drawn to naturally, and then pay the most attention to that one and check the other ones either at breaks or intermissions or whatever.
All right. So should we do? What do you want to do right now?
We can
Should we?
do team of the week / players of the month. Those are up
That
and
sounds
out.
good.
Start with players of the week. Do. As soon as it loads. This week's players of the week for November 20th through 26th. It was a lot of Denver. A whole lot of Denver. And I guess when you score 14 goals and don't give up any, makes them
Yeah.
most sense. Your forward of the week, McCade Webster, senior forward from Denver. Defenseman of the week, I'm going to butcher this young man's name, and he's just going to have to live with that if he ever sees this, which he won't, so it's fine. Zev Bayum, freshman for Denver.
You know, I would have said Zeev Biome or Biome. So I mean,
Zev.
I give you credit.
Jake Lavinage, defenseman for UND, is the rookie of the week. Freddie Halleck is the freshman who was the goaltender of the week for week 8 of the season. So, yep. Those are my terrible pronunciations of names, which is fine. I grew up having my last name butchered my entire life, so it's only fair that I pass that along to other people.
It's okay. In Little League, I have 3 letters in my last name. I went up to bat 5 times. Got my last name pronounced 5 different ways. None of them were the correct way.
Hey, at least there's vowels in your name, unlike a 3-letter last name in the world of hockey that has no vowels.
Yeah, true.
Players of the month for the month of November. We once again have Zeev Bayum, the freshman from Denver, who is, I believe, the first freshman to be the player of the month.
I could see that.
Miko. All right.
Matika.
Yeah, the forward from
Miko Matika.
also
That's what
from
we're going with.
Denver is the rookie of the month, and
I knew you were struggling. You were like, I don't want to get canceled for what I'm saying.
I mean, my brain completely like blanked out.
And
Goaltender of the month is Western Michigan's Cameron Rowe, who picks up his first Goaltender of the Month award in the NCHC.
I think that's well deserved for Cam. He has played well overall. All right, should we get into this week's slate? Thankfully, there's only 4 series to go with.
Is only what am I looking for? Can I figure my life out right now? That'd be cool. What is happening? Oh, okay. Apparently they're 3, 7, and 2. That's good to know.
I've been feeling well the last couple days, so I'm not the person to ask.
I haven't been sleeping the best the last couple nights, but Jesus Christ, come on, brain. You only have to work 2. You only have 1 more day of work and then another 4-day weekend. That's what happens when you stack up your PTO and use it at the end of the year. You can take Thursdays and Fridays off for a month.
That's nice.
Go to them hockey games. Mm-hmm. Oh, they're 3-9-2 overall. Oh,
Who's
Lindenwood. Oh, they beat
that's what I figure.
Augustana and Long Island.
Ooh.
Kind of got a little bit of a whooping put on them by Penn State, though. Their next 4 games are against Western Michigan. They do not have
That's right.
a holiday game. They have a big break. This is their last set of games until January.
All right, so like Wes said, um, we're going to start off with Western Michigan and Lindenwood, and this is in Kalamazoo, I believe.
It is Western on a 6 game homestand. And they're right in the middle of it this weekend, having played 2 at home last weekend. They'll get Lindenwood for 2, and then they will host Denver next weekend uh, on this nice little homestand that they got going. Some home cooking for the boys.
I think, especially with the way that Western's been playing lately, I think they get a sweep this weekend. Um, there is the potential for a little bit of a trap game, but um, I just don't see it. They're starting to figure it out. The only the only way that they lose a game this weekend, I think, is if for whatever godforsaken reason decides to play some other guys that maybe don't get enough time. That's the only way that they lose a game. So I have them sweeping.
I mean, we did lose a defenseman. I don't know that Bauer will be back for this series. I think he took a shot to the knee in the Friday game. I'd have to really look back through the game and see, but he was in a knee brace Saturday, did not play. Freshman. Oh, I hate your name too, you little booger. Because it's.
Tell that to his face.
Oh, I will. Think I won't? I'm a man.
But you're not 40.
I'm not 40 yet. I'm closer to 40 than I am 20. Kreuzberg Racine playing Saturday in place of the injured Jacob Bauer. Played well. I think this was his second or third game. I think he played in the Bowling Green series. Let me double check. This was actually his 5th game. So my bad for missing him. He played both of the Bowling Green games and both of the Omaha games, and then got back in there for the St. Lawrence series. Played well, I mean, didn't do a whole lot, but I think if you're a freshman defenseman and you're kind of going unnoticed, that's not a bad thing. He did have 1 shot on goal in the Saturday game. He's got 1 point, 1 assist. So again, he's doing the right things, and he's not noticed for the some of the bad things that could have happened. So he's filled in nicely there. They did get Ethan Phillips back, who had sat out the Colorado series. He came in and played well. Was not in his normal spot on the first line, or at least the starting line, I guess you could say, because as Frischweiler would like to say, that just because they're the starters did not mean they're the first line, or what the media thinks as his first line is not necessarily what he views as his first line. But he was rolled back a little bit in the depth chart. Did have an assist in both nights. He's sitting at 5 goals, 5 assists for 10 points on the year. Transfer guy who's come in and really established himself as a solid player for this Western team. I do think it's another Western sweep. The Lunatics should be back in a little bit more of an established position this weekend, as Thanksgiving break kind of ravaged what the student section usually is, and it was a percentage of that this last weekend.
It was a very, and I will say that was a little bit of a shocker, especially watching. Like, I understand it's Thanksgiving, but holy cow, there were not many students there.
For once, the community outperformed the lunatic section. But Saturday there was a few more there, and some of the more established lunatics were back. So I think we'll see a much different atmosphere this weekend. Lindenwood will get to see what playing in an established program with an established student section is like this weekend, and it'll be bumping. But I do give Western the sweep.
I put you down for the sweep. I just need to look to see if there's a number 4 on Lindenwood.
Ooh, that's a good question. I was just looking at that.
Don't worry, I got it. I
There
got it.
probably is, and he's gonna have it. There is no, there is not. So either 3 or 5 will have to stand in his stead, and they will have the poopy nights.
Yep, they're gonna have a lot of fun. Uh,
Luckily, they don't have to pronounce names because 3 and 5
oh yeah.
have some great names. So it just the number 3 or the number 5 will be called out throughout the night.
Um, um,
And you know the student section was
Ru-
small
Ru-
this last weekend because they missed a few opportunities
I think
to.
it's Ruchensky and Yakimchuk. Holy hell. Um,
Yep. Good times.
Goddamn Canadians. Anyway, so yeah, I had already put you down for a Western sweep. I just think Western's too talented for
They're rolling. They're
for,
getting it
for
going, and their defense is coming along. And I think when your defense is playing well, it's I don't want to say easier to win games, but you don't have to press as much offensively. I think when your defense is struggling and you're trying to make up the difference by just outscoring the other teams is when you see
Mhm.
some teams run into trouble with teams that they should quote unquote easily dispatch or should be a less tough time for them. But the defense playing well, I think, plays into Western's favor here, picking up another sweep and making it a 6-game winning streak for the boys. Uh,
Mm, Go ahead.
another team that's on a winning streak of 3 games. Omaha travels once again, this time going to Minnesota Duluth to take on your Bulldogs.
And what I was gonna say is I think this is probably the second most, I mean, yeah, there's only 4 series, but second most interesting series of the weekend. Uh I as far as entertainment value, I don't think it's going to be as much as the next series, but standing wise, I think this is one of and future of coaches and everything. I think this is the most important. We've seen here recently in Minnesota the coaching staffs get the vote of confidence and then get the hook in the next week. And for me as a fan, I love Sandy. He's been here for a long time. He knows how to get things done, and he's only what 4 years removed from a national championship, a potential third, 3 years removed from a potential third. There's just something that's not sitting right with this team. Um,
Y'all went winless in November.
it's
In one tie to Minnesota in November. Everything else was a loss, including
it
2 straight NCHC sweeps to North Dakota and St. Cloud State.
it's the and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this. It's the if we it's kind of like the old Jacques Lemaire when he came to the Wild. If you get a lead, you can hold it. If you don't, well, you might as well buy the other team dinner because they're going to take you to bed and bend you over. And this team cannot get a lead. We could not get a lead last year. Um, there's talent. Defensively, we're not good. We don't have the great goaltending that we've had in the past. Um, Thiessen is taking over the net, and he's fine. Like he's made a lot of big saves. He's kept this team in games. Stay skull. Um, when he's on, and I've said it before. He lost his cousin. I mean, whenever he's ready, he's gone through a whole lot in his life within the last couple of years. So, not blaming him for anything. Um, Thiessen, I'm not going to blame him. It's the team, it's the defensive structure, and then we can't score. I do have this one as a split, though. Us losing on Friday and uh winning on Saturday, I think the loss on Friday is going to wake the boys up and somebody other than Ben Steves is going to score because Steves is the only person that seems to actually want to play offense on this team. Um, and then they're going to stop going to the box because it literally this team it makes what you had sent about the Panthers and Senators game look like a junior high prom. I mean, like this we just love to go to the penalty box. So I think there's going to be kind of a reality check. And I'm hoping that this week off helped. I just think Friday they don't perform like they should, but Saturday they finally come back to it.
I think if they need to take another loss to wake up, then they're in deep, deep trouble. That being said, I'm going to give them the win on Friday, and Omaha's going to make adjustments to come back and win on Saturday. But we're getting close to that time where North Dakota starts turning, or Minnesota Duluth starts turning it up a little bit. They find a different
Mhm.
gear here late in the end stages of the first half, early in the second half. Um, Hopefully, that's something that we'll see happen again this year because I mean, really, the
We're in
only
trouble.
you're in deep trouble. The only thing keeping you in it is the fact that Miami and Colorado College are both also in the conference. Um, I think right now it's literally you. It might even be you and Miami fighting for that bottom spot, or it's a three-way race between Denver or Colorado College, Duluth, and Miami.
And the only thing I think the only thing that would keep us from that bottom spot was it or would be
Games played right
we,
now.
well just in general like through the course of the year um would be our talent level is better than Miami. um as far as skaters go, I think we're more talented than Colorado College, but Umberco was a better goaltender than either of the two that we have. So I would put them
Right,
above us.
right now, the point standing is with 6 conference game played. St. Cloud State is in first with a perfect record of 6-0, having 18 points. North Dakota, who has only played 4 games in the conference so far, is in second with 12 points, also a perfect conference record. Western Michigan is at 10 points through 6 games. They have a 3-3 record. Denver is at 9 points through 4 games with a 3-1 record. Colorado College at 6 points Through 6 games, they are 2-4 currently. Omaha has 5 points, 2-2. They have an overtime win against Western Michigan, giving them their 5th point there through 4 games. Duluth 0-4 in the conference through 4 games, having 0 points. And Miami 0-6 so far in the conference, also having 0 points. You have scored 1 less goal than Miami has in conference play and allowed 15 less goals than Miami has through conference play.
Yeah, like I said, the
So
defense can be there, but if we have to chase, we're screwed.
you are currently chasing Miami and have a worse record overall than Miami. Miami is 5-8-1 overall, whereas right now Duluth is 3-7-3 to this point in the season, which I was looking up last year. Last year, at this point in the season, before the games this weekend, they were 7-7.
Miami was?
No, Duluth was.
Oh, well, yeah, that
Which you're not far off of if it hadn't been for the overtime losses or overtime games. I mean, you're 3-7-3 if you'd won some of those.
yeah.
You've also overall scored as many goals as Miami has. You both have scored 37, but you've given up 3 less. You have only given
Okay.
up 45 goals, whereas Miami has given up 48 goals.
Woohoo. When your team is in the same conversation as Miami, you know you're screwed.
You've scored as
Anyway,
many as Denver has given up. Denver is at
moving on. Speaking of Denver, probably the most entertaining matchup of the weekend, or what should be, um, is Denver and North Dakota.
I have 2 things I need to check on here.
Are you gonna make me feel worse about myself and my team?
No. Okay, so it is a
Thank God.
top 3 matchup. North Dakota currently sitting in second in the USHO poll. Denver at 3. Um, so as far as the polls go, this is a big matchup, but we all know that polls don't mean much.
No, and if you look at Bruce Siski's tweet about the the women's polls, there is no logic to it. They
Okay.
just do it for whatever. Um,
And both teams
he
coming off of sweeps. Who's the home? Is Denver's the home team, right?
Denver looks like Denver's the home team.
Well, what does it say where the game is played? It should say.
It doesn't say
Well,
on what I have up, but
it's
Denver's the
in
bottom
Denver.
team.
They're
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
in
they're the
Denver.
bottom team, so that's why I said they should be. Um,
Okay.
this is the toughest one for me to figure out because, like you said, both teams are coming off sweeps. Both teams are coming off really good series. The only difference maker could be that honestly it goes to goaltending. Um Person has seen Denver. He knows the conference. Davis hasn't really played
Is
a
this
whole ton.
this person's 4th year? He played 3 at Miami.
I believe he played 3 at Miami.
Is he in?
I believe this is his 4th year.
Is he in the pod? Okay.
And so I mean, even regardless, whether it's his 3rd or his 4th year, um, this is Davis's. Well, it was Davis's first full year, and now he has his issues, health issues. which that sounds terrible how I said it, but
I can not confirm or deny it's a health issue. I don't know exactly what it is.
whatever issues that he's having, you know, hopefully everything's okay. But them having their backup in there, yeah, he got a series in. That can change a lot of things. And North Dakota's proven that they can score this year. And defend. I just don't know which way I want to go with this. I can see it going all four options that we have.
Mm-hmm. Okay, he has one win against Denver. And it was in the pod. He has 1-10 versus Denver, I believe. If not 0-10.
You said he has one win, so he can't be 0-10.
I think. I don't know if he played the game in the pod or not.
Oh.
He did. Okay, so yeah, he's 1-10 versus Denver all time.
1-9?
Nope, 1-10. Because
1-10.
they played one series in the regular season and they met in the playoffs the last 2 years. So they actually played 6 games last year and 4 games 2 years ago. So he's 1-10.
That'd be 1-9. Well,
no, if you 1-10.
No, the one, so 11. Yeah.
He's played him 11 times. Once in the pod and 10 in the last 2 seasons.
So.
And he has been torched by that Denver team on multiple occasions, which some of which you could say is the defense in front of him at Miami, which is not the same as the defense he'll have in front of him in North Dakota. He's showing to be the goaltender we thought he was through his play this year, and North Dakota is another team that can get rolling. I mean, I don't know that Halleck is seen necessarily a team as talented as North Dakota or as complete as North Dakota, and North Dakota is playing extremely well too. It's gonna be, I think, the matchup you're expecting. Maybe North Dakota struggles a little bit in Denver, but I don't even necessarily know that that's the case. I think a couple years ago, when everybody was struggling in Denver, Denver lost in North Dakota. So it's these two teams, they stack up pretty well, and this could legitimately be a preview of what we could see in the end stages of the playoffs with the way these two teams are rolling right now.
Yeah, and that's 100% where I'm at is the person had his struggles against Denver at Miami, but Miami isn't very good.
North Dakota,
they haven't been very good.
North Dakota did go 0-4 against Denver last year,
and
that was also with Magnus Corona playing in net for Denver,
who has already seen NHL time. To amend your statement about Person, he's the goalie that we knew he was, not that we thought he was. He's the goalie that we knew he was. It's just he's getting more recognition playing behind a better team. I I'm gonna let you go first on this one because I think I the the problem that I'm dealing with is North Dakota is better defensively than we thought they were going to be at the start of the year with the brand new defensive core. But Denver is just as good offensively this year as they have been in the past, and they're better than we thought they were maybe going to be. Um, I'm gonna let you go first, but I think I have an idea of what I want to say. I have a very good idea of my prediction.
I think I'm going to go with a split. I think Denver has. This will be one of the tougher tests that Denver has faced all year.
Hmm.
They seem to. I mean, like I said, once they find the back of the net, then they just run up scores. And it doesn't matter who they're playing in that regard. This will definitely be one of the better defenses they've seen since maybe Boston College. And
Isn't BC one right now? I
uh,
think they are.
BC,
I think BC is one.
I think so. And they beat BC after losing to Providence. They do have a loss to Providence, um, on the year, but they're playing. I don't know. They're playing kind of dangerously. I think it really comes down to special teams here and who can play a cleaner game. I think right now North Dakota may be one of the higher PK teams in the country.
Just so you know, I have my picks locked in. So I just want to see what you say. I'm not gonna change them. Hands are up here.
Denver has the two leaders in points per game, and Massimo Rizzo and Jack Devine, both at over 1.7 points per game right now. That's not what I cared about.
I applaud you for looking up a stat that you didn't care.
Well, it's because it's the first one that pops up when you go to the NCAA page. I just happened to know. I saw the two freaking Denver players.
I'm sorry, that was just really funny.
North Dakota is at an 8.75 PK. They've allowed 6 power play goals on 42 attempts. Denver has allowed 9 goals on 52 attempts and is sitting at an 8.27. So, I mean, PK is going to be a big thing. Power play, I think the edge might also be to Denver. Denver is 16 of 66, 242. Minnesota Duluth actually leading the country in power play percentage right now.
Oh, because we can't stay out of the fucking box.
No, leading the country in power play percentage. You have the best power
Oh,
play
we
percentage in the
scored.
country. North Dakota is 39th at 17.3%, 9 goals on 52 attempts. Yeah, you guys are at 17 power play goals on 50 attempts, a 3.40 power play percentage.
Well, because we have Ben Steves who has like 80 million.
Um, so slight edge in power play percentage to Denver, slight edge in PK to North Dakota. Partly a big part of that is the fact that person plays net for North Dakota. I'm gonna go split. I think North Dakota wins Friday to give Person his second win against Denver, but Denver makes the adjustments and they take the Saturday game.
I different reasons, but that's what I had it locked in as. Um, I think with Denver's goalie coming in and playing a team like North Dakota, as talented as they have been and as hot as they've been playing, I think North Dakota takes the win on Friday, but then Denver makes the adjustments, like you said, on Saturday, and they take the win. Then I do think it's a split. Just unfortunately, maybe for you, that we have them as a split, because I might stay ahead of you. Um, Last but not least, because that's Miami, uh, Colorado College and Arizona State.
Future
A
conference
future,
matchup here.
yep, future quote unquote divisional matchup. I have
Which
not paid attention to anything Arizona State has done. Um, and it seems like by your face, you have not either.
haven't I clicked the wrong thing. Let's take a look at their schedule so far this year.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
They are sitting at 10-3 overall. Okay, let's go.
All right, all right, Sun Devils.
Wins over a ranked Merrimack team, sweeping Northern Michigan, a loss and a tie to Miami. Oh yeah, they split with Denver. I remember that. Swept Anchorage, split with
Mm.
Providence this weekend. Dude, they're definitely gearing up to make this jump to the NCHC. They're not
They're not messing around.
messing around at all. It's in Colorado Springs. It's going to be cold. It's going to be hard to breathe. Um,
You know what? I have my idea for my prediction already.
we do like Emberco. Colorado College, man, I was expecting them to be a much better team than they have been this year.
I think their offense just hasn't stepped up. The other players after they lost McCown,
I mean, they're
and
currently
I mean
they've struggled
they're
with
okay,
goaltenders
but
in conference more than out of conference. They've only scored 12 conference goals, but they have 41 overall, and they've only allowed 35 overall, and they've allowed 20 in their 6 conference games.
but
They're 7-5 right now.
I I think they're this year right now they're kind of like they're more Omaha than Omaha is, in a sense, where so yeah, they sweep number 15 Merrimack. They get a sweep over Northern Michigan, but then they split with Miami and then new Division 1, like they go OT with Stonehill. Split with Denver, great. Sweep Anchorage, but then Providence, you split like I don't with the Stonehill, you're going to OT and winning both games by 1 goal, and then you split with Miami. I really don't know what to think of this team. Um, and Arizona State. Oh, that is Arizona State. Um, I don't know what I was going off of, but yeah, Arizona State. They're a good team. They're kind of like the Omaha, Colorado College. To look at their schedule.
This year they swept Miami, lost to Western, swept by Denver, uh, lost to Augustana, beat Air Force, swept LIU, swept Union. So I mean, they beat the teams they were expected to beat. Struggled with some of the routinely top tier teams that they've struggled with in the past. I mean, they haven't
Yeah.
beaten Denver or Western in the regular season in like 3 years. They have playoff wins over both of those teams, but regular season wise, not so much success. Them being the home team, I think, does play a bit of an advantage. Maybe more so right now if their weather is as crappy as our weather is over here, because Arizona is still Arizona and it's probably still decently nice. Um, and yeah, I don't necessarily know a bunch about Arizona State right now, but I'll give
Oh,
Arizona State the win Friday, and I'll give
okay.
Colorado College the win Saturday.
I have it the exact opposite. I've Colorado College the win Friday, and then Arizona State the win Saturday. Um, I just think with after I've now unconfused myself, uh, I think yeah, Arizona State might come out hot on Friday. Because you just look at their Denver series, they won 6-5, but then they lost 8-4. I think they're learning as a team. You might be right in your assumption because from their schedule they tend to lose the Saturday game, um, as as opposed to the Friday game, but uh, I partly want to be different, and I partly think weather and altitude, because when they played Denver, it was down in Tempe at Mullet Arena. So that might play a factor into how they perform on Friday.
Ooh, I don't know. I think these teams travel so much that they try to get there with enough time to get their legs under them and get semi acclimated, and sometimes the adrenaline will push that acclimation point a little bit so that you won't feel it till like the second day. I think it's only maybe an hour time difference if there's gonna be a time difference. Don't remember if
Yeah, I don't know because Arizona's
I don't remember if they're Mountain
weird.
Time or if they're Pacific Time.
Well,
I
I
think they're
think
Pacific Time with Utah or Nevada.
because Arizona doesn't do
Or no, they're
the
Mountain Time.
daylight savings thingamajigger. Um,
So well, yeah, they would still either be
right
Mountain or
now they are
Central.
Mountain Time,
Yeah,
so there is no time difference.
well, that's good.
Because Phoenix is 8:18, and so is Denver.
Yeah, but what's the temperature differences?
I don't know. Yesterday morning, it felt like -6 here, so uh, that was fun.
Colorado. It is currently 32 degrees in Colorado Springs.
That ain't bad.
It's freezing.
Well, it says me. I mean, it's 26 here. Oh, that ain't that bad.
And in Tempe, Arizona, it is 66 degrees. It'll be in
Eh,
it'll be in the mid 60s throughout the weekend in Tempe,
well, it's 34 degrees.
and it'll be in the high 30s, low 40s going into the weekend in Colorado Springs. So, 20-degree difference.
Yeah,
Maybe the
We're
boys will
fine.
sleep better in the cold weather. Who knows? But yeah, no, those are my picks. Got them in there.
Yep,
The nice thing
they
is
are locked in.
I'll be able to catch most of at least the Denver, North Dakota, and the Colorado College, Arizona State games. I'll miss most of Duluth, Omaha, because I will be at Western.
And I will have this week I will be able to watch, but next week highly doubtful I'll be able to see anything because I'm going to my cousin's wedding out in the state of Virginia.
Well, that's why you have your phone and you watch hockey games on your phone.
I don't want to get murdered by my family.
You just wait till the ceremony's over, then you find it. When you get to the reception, you just find a table in the back and sit there on your phone.
I have other priorities when it comes to the reception.
You can
But
drink and watch
anyway,
hockey. So,
that I can.
all right. Oh, I mean, really, how much do you have to pay attention to next weekend, though? It's Duluth at Miami. Oh, wait. No, you actually have to pay attention quite
Yeah,
a bit.
I do because we suck
Your
against
team
them.
struggles against Miami, and your team sucks right now. It's a
Yeah,
battle
we are
for
terrible.
It's a battle for last place in the NCHC. Miami has the week off this week. That could legit be a battle for last place in the NCHC with Miami and who else? St. Cloud State not playing this weekend.
Well, you know what? Like one of the radio hosts here says there's two ways to go about it. You either want to be historically good or biblically bad. And well, we might just take that biblically bad title away from Miami.
All right. I think that'll about do it.
I was gonna say, do your thing because I want to go get some more food.
There's some YouTubey stuff that you could do if you so choose. There's a like button, a subscribe button, a dislike button. There's a comment section. You can make use of any one of those if you so choose. Our personal Twitter handles, and yes, I'm going to say Twitter because apparently it is still twitter.com and not x.com. So we'll still use the word Twitter. My browser says twitter.com. Those have been at the bottom of the screen the entire show. There's a show Twitter handle which is scrolling along the bottom of your screen right now. I don't feel like reading it out because I hate doing it. There is an email address for a Gmail account that is also scrolling across the bottom of the page. That one's just goalhornsandfightsongs@gmail.com. All together, all one word. Doesn't matter if it's big letters, little letters, they're all there. All in one at gmail.com. That's where we can be reached there. Yep, that's it. I did all the words. Only one thing left to say. Pucks on net. Good things happen like goal horns and fight songs. Until the next episode, Western will still be winning games and Duluth will still be losing games. Bye.